Let's get right back to that breaking news we've been following for you overnight in Louisville. 2 police officers were shot amid protests there. Crowds were upset over the decision not to charge 3 Kentucky police officers in Breonna Taylor's death. From New York City to Los Angeles, Milwaukee, and Pittsburgh, people were gathering in those places to express their outrage. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Roger Suzanen has been monitoring the latest developments from our digital desk. Roger, how are those officers doing this morning?
Nicole, I'm happy to tell you that those officers are expected to be okay. They're in the hospital right now, both listed in stable condition. But it was definitely a very scary night following this controversial ruling.
The gunfire rang out around 8:30 last night. At that point, crowds had been gathered in Louisville for hours, protesting after a grand jury made its decision that no officers would be directly charged in the shooting death of Breonna Taylor. Back in March, the 26-year-old was shot 6 times in the hallway of her apartment during a botched drug investigation. Taylor's boyfriend fired at the officers first, thinking they were intruders. Yesterday, the grand jury said 2 of the now fired officers who shot at Taylor were justified in using force to protect themselves. The only charges brought were against former officer Brett Hankison for firing into neighboring homes. Professor Lorenzen Boyd is a criminal justice and diversity expert with the University of New Haven. He says the next step could be intervention from the federal government if they decide there was a civil rights violation.
I don't know that they would, because it already went to a grand jury, so I don't anticipate that they're going to do anything. So I think, unfortunately, this could be the end of the line.
As for the 2 officers who were shot in Louisville, the city's police chief says they do have a suspect in custody, but he's worried about more violence.
I am very concerned about the safety of our officers. Obviously, we've had 2 officers shot tonight, and that is very serious. I think that the safety of our officers and the community we serve is of utmost importance.
And here in Connecticut, a group of state leaders and members of the general public are teaming up right now to try and improve the relationship between police and minority communities. The Police Transparency and Accountability Task Force is also working to reduce the number of times officers fire their weapons in Connecticut. And the task force actually has 2 virtual meetings set up for later today. Live from the digital desk, I'm Roger Suzanen, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.